Hey guys, Carlos Cortez here. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to start out by my disclosure here. I am a financial advisor, but anything I say today is not financial advice. If you would like financial advice, give us a call 813-448-3446 or visit our website at cortezwm.com, and you can download our free guide at americafirstretirementplan.com. Well, with that being said, I wanted just to if you remember from last week, I said that I would come with a chart, investment idea, or my opinion about something. But hey, let's just look at it. Um, as you guys know, banks are falling apart. Biden is already lying about inflation, jobs, and they're putting more sanctions on Russia. But yet there's Ukrainium that we're getting from Russia because they're like the number one supplier of Ukrainium. And when we need Ukrainium to run our power plants, our nuclear plants. So it's interesting how there's so much double standards and they're really not telling us the truth. The administration, the Fed, is not telling us the truth, guys. Like, I know I said that interest rates could go up, and I wasn't completely wrong because they did not lower the interest rates at all. And so this sent the stock market in a frenzy last month, just 3 weeks ago. So, as keeping the interest rates high, what this has done is created a massive, massive blow to commercial real estate and banks, all these community banks. So we have the international banking system literally saying that the United States is a very unsecure place to invest in. The Bank of Canada said that there will be bank failures. The Fed now, the Fed now is saying they've been saying that there will be some banks that will go down. And the reason why we have these banks is why? I mean, we've talked about this for almost 2 years now. Is there's just massive amount of commercial real estate loans that cannot even be tamed. So there's something called impairment, where the banks, very similarly, they'll cut off their arm, their legs, their limbs. They'll impair themselves, and just to cut their losses. So I promise you, we will see bank failures. And if you have small banks, look, it's time to diversify. It's time to diversify in many, many ways. We're going to talk about diversification today, but I just wanted to kind of get a temperature gauge of just what I'm seeing right now. And interest rates are going to have to come down. And it's about that time. It's political. It's, the election flu is here with flirt. The election shenanigans is here. And guess what? I said it about, what was it, 3 months ago, saying the Fed could steal the election by lowering interest rates right before the election. So pretty amazing, man. Pretty amazing stuff that right now, amongst the Tyson and Jake Paul fight, huge distraction, by the way. While all that is happening, look for the Fed to try to do something with interest rates. Well, we do know that inflation is getting out of hand. Like people legit are moving in with each other. Single moms are moving in with other single moms and friends, and families are moving in together in smaller places because they no longer can afford the rent. They no longer can afford a mortgage. Speaking of mortgages, home values, not just home values, but home values have been affected tremendously by this interest rate rise because no one wants to get a mortgage, or they can't even have the income to sustainably go through suitability and qualify for a mortgage. So home prices are going down because there's just no ability to borrow with the banks. The banks are not landing out mortgages like they used to. And this is creating such a massive, massive spiral effect to the everyday consumer where the economy is just taking a massive hit. Then we have BRICS, BRIC countries. JP Morgan came out recently saying that there's no way the BRICS could outbeat the dollar. So I thought that was interesting that JP Morgan came out, Luciferian JP Morgan came out and say, oh, well, the dollar is so established in all the countries that they literally would have to all go bankrupt to get rid of the dollar. Maybe that's true, maybe not. But I did say that about 2 years ago where the countries, they just don't get along. And I know they want to get rid of the dollar. I know they hate the dollar. But in reality, is Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and all other 90 other countries or the whole world, are they really going to work in harmony? Saudi Arabia? Are they really going to work in harmony against the dollar? Hey, I don't know. Only God will know. But it's speculative. However, we do know that digital currency is taking over. I think the first country to really adopt it is going to be either India or Australia. They're already using it. But man, we got a lot of problems going on with our current economy. And with this year being election year, it is going to get violent in the market swings. So I will say that we need to start diversifying. And if you have banks, you need to start really diversifying if a lot of your assets are in the banks, because it's no longer safe. It's no longer safe. The Bank of Canada is saying that there will be more bank failures. The Fed a month ago saying that this would cause a lot of bank failures if interest rates stay high, and that inflation really is uncontrollable right now because they keep on printing money. They collectively sent billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine and now Israel and Taiwan, and nothing to the single mom, nothing to the border, nothing to our roads, our education system, nothing for the American people. And this is why you can infer intent by the results given. You can infer that Joe Stupid Biden does not care about America by his intent. And this whole thing about Bidenomics is working is such a freaking scam. It is not working. People are getting hurt. It is not working at all. And just recently I read that car notes, like automobile loans, are at a high. Not only do we have credit card default rates at a high rate, but we also have auto loans. Like people are just getting their cars repoed like by the droves. It's all time high. And what's really scary is that the savings rate of America is just as bad as it was in the Great Depression. We've reached a savings rate of an all-time low. People literally cannot save under our current economic conditions. They just can't, because inflation is too high and the stealth tax is too high. They cannot save. So it is terrible right now. Guys, you have to protect your principal more so than ever. If you have a retirement, give us a call. There are some really cool programs out right now that we have designed for our clients. I'll talk about something here in a minute, but yeah, give us a call. We want to give you a second opinion. We want to work with God-fearing American companies that keep you first, that keep our country first, that keep our principles first, that don't sell out to China or ESG, the environmental social governance, that only fuels this garbage that Joe Biden is doing. Like, this is terrible. This is terrible. We're not even talking about like other issues like abortion and LGBT promotion and legislation and all these weird things that the Biden administrations have done. We're not even talking about that. We're simply just talking about the economy. And it is so detrimental, printing money, lying in our faces, not really telling us the truth, lying about the financial solvencies of these banks, Meanwhile, we had 192 banks with a Solari report basically saying that, hey, there's banks that will not be solvent. And the government wants to keep it hush hush, and they're doing a good job. Only if they keep the rates currently high, like they are right now. So having high interest rates is a guaranteed way to literally bust and cripple our banking system. So what does that look like if our banking system cripples? We have a slew of banks. And like I've said many, many times, 2023, we had more banks failures than in 2008. So it is bad. We have to understand that we are in for a financial crisis we've never even seen before. I'm going to basically let you know that, again, this is not financial advice. This is just educational and information purposes. But what do? All right, so we have financial collapse. Let's sell our IRAs and buy gold and blah, blah, blah. Guys, we got to do something smarter. We have a process called a covenant process. We do believe in precious metals. I've partnered with Genesis Gold. All you got to do is go to CortezWealthGold.com. They're going to give you a preferred rate because you're calling from my podcast, from my client book, and they agreed to give our clients a preferred rate. So go to CortezWealthGold.com if you would like precious metals delivered to your door. We also do not recommend having precious metals in an IRA. One being is that the IRA is not yours, it's the government's. And now you're telling the government, hey, I have all my gold in this IRA in Delaware or Texas. Now legally they can't come across and go into your vault and take it. But do you really trust the government obeying the law? I'll leave that up to you. So I like physical gold. And more importantly, with precious metals, what are you going to do with it once it hits all-time high? Right now, silver went from $23 to $28. It is skyrocketing right now. And you can go to CortezWealthGold.com and get you a free guide, and you can learn about the ins and outs about precious metals, and you can sell it right back to them. And so they agreed to basically keep the client first. They're not some crazy Zionist bank that's going to destroy you and lie to you and run amok on you. They're not that at all. So go to CortezWealthGold.com and really get some precious metals delivered to your door. It's that simple. So the other thing is we need to have a good 10-20% in precious metals. The bad thing about precious metals is not really, you really can't create an income from it. And it's not as liquid as a brokerage account or an insurance account that it could just go right into your bank account. But it is good for privacy. It's not bad for stored value. Now, the precious metal side, you do have to sell it when the economy is in the dumps. And that's hard to do because people, they will buy something low and not sell it when it's high. You're supposed to buy low and sell high, not sell low and buy high. So don't do the reverse. But the good news is when the stock market does crash, it's not a guarantee, but typically those precious metals will do well in value. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the treasuries market, a liquid account that is truly liquid. Guys, if the U.S. government defaults on treasuries, we got bigger problems than precious metals or insurance contracts or money. We are living in tents. We're living in survival mode. We are basically running for our lives. And so for those of you that say, oh, well, the brokerage accounts are not going to be there, I totally get what you're saying. But this is why we diversify, because I can't tell you what asset class is going to do the best. I can only tell you what I think is going to do the best. And I like to say I'm pretty accurate. I haven't missed any calls. I admit my mistakes. But we need to have precious metals, insurance contracts for our nest egg, treasuries for our income and liquidity. We can make a great income just sitting in treasuries right now. And we have the ability to go into an ETF model that will grow with the index. Right now, we know the stock market is rigged. It's been rigged for the past 19 years, but we still can make money off of it. And you guys seen all my scanners, all the stuff that I brought on a podcast time and time again. It's been right. And we've shot call things, and I have another shot call for you that I think is just a layup, man. I'm really excited about this one because it has to happen. It has to happen. Well, what has to happen is interest rates got to go down, and so I'm gonna show you an ETF that I'm tracking that will benefit from this massive interest rate reduction or cut, we should say, that the Fed has to do. I mean, just has to do it. So, all right. The other aspect of all this is the insurance contract, right? We understand that they're not approved in every state. But right now, interest rates are extremely high. And I found, depending on your state, there's only about 25 states that I can get a 20% bonus. But in all the states, except for New York, I can get you a 19% sign-on bonus, and you grow with an index that has commodities, that has the S&P, that has the NASDAQ, that has Treasury, all four corridors, and it can flex every single day to the best asset class. Whether that's defensive, where it's defensive growth, where it's yield, where it's inflation driven, meaning inflation sensitive. That means commodities are going to do well. So it's constantly fluxing on a day-to-day basis. Plus, we get a 19% bonus just for signing up on all the monies that we send to this program. We're getting 19% bonus. Of course, is backed by an A-rated company and is guaranteed by the strengths of that insurance company. So you got to give us a call to make sure we got to do an evaluation. It takes 5-10 minutes to just see if you're suitable for it. And if you like the terms, basically the terms are if you can have access to 10% of your money, if you're okay with that for X amount of years, then this account may be suitable for you. But they can double. It averages a double every 5 to 7 years with principal guarantees. We have guarantees on our home, our car, insurances, on our life, on our dogs, on our cell phones, our cars, our health, our business deals, travel deals. We have errors and omission insurance. We have insurance on everything. Even the bank has insurance on their money, but do you have insurance on your retirement? And that really is the whole gamut here, is that we got to have a portfolio insurance, because most of you are just sitting out there confiding in a CPA or an attorney, and they don't have any financial backing. They're not even licensed. Yeah, they wear a white collar, but they don't have experience in all of this ruckus, and we don't even know if they're woke. This is the blind leading the blind, man. Oh my goodness. So we want to make sure your principal is protected. Like, that's just the number one game in all this, guys. It doesn't matter financial reset, financial takeover, digital dollar, the bank's this, the bank's that, rising or declining inflation. You got to protect your money. It's that simple. You simply just have to protect your money. And if you're just riding in the left lane without a seatbelt, then you're going to have a problem. If you just let your money just sit there, I've spoken to literally $10 million worth of clients' asset this week, and all of them were just having their money in the stock market, literally expecting growth when their standard deviation is over 18%. I'm talking about grandma money, just hanging out in the left lane, not doing nothing, losing a few $100,000 a week, gaining a few $100,000 a week, this constant roller coaster. And they're worried. And I'm like, no wonder you're worried, because you are completely out of your lane. And you don't have any reason to complain, because there are solutions. There are solutions. We have to professionally manage these assets. We got to lower the standard deviation. We got to reduce that risk, increase that return. And we can simply do that. That's what I've been doing for the past 20 years. Let me help you. And I promise you, you will benefit from the knowledge that we have. You'll benefit from the experience we have and our forthcoming cutting edge technology. So if that's you, give us a call, 813-448-3446, or you can email me if you have any questions, info@cortezwm.com. But more importantly, download our free guide at AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com. We also have a book. If you're a current client, all you gotta do is email me. But if you would like a book, then just go to CortezWM.com. It's free for all of our listeners, even if you're a current client. I spent a lot of money getting these done, but I'm not here to make money off of them. They're telling me that I need to start selling these so I can get my money back. Look, I just want this in your hands. We'll cover the shipping. We'll pay for everything. Just let me know. If you want a book, I would rather you have this in your hands, because the message is really what it's about. So we're going to teach you how to keep your money safe, get consistent rates of return, explain why the financial world is not transparent, and why investments are not being held in America and they're funding economies like China. And also, people don't have access to fiduciaries that believe in what you believe in. The reason why you don't have access to fiduciaries that don't believe in what you believe in is because the big banks don't want their corporate representatives talking about God, country, and family. How many censorship have we seen? Like, if you say Christ is king, is is anti-Semitism, is anti-Semitic. Like, are you joking me? But yet, you can have a Muslim or a Wiccan express their faith in the public school system or online, and there's no anti-Semitism there. It is the craziest thing. It is the craziest thing that we live in this world. And honestly, people are not happy right now. People are not happy. There's no joy. There's no joy in marriages. There's no joy in businesses, in relationships. There's no joy in money. It is wild. It is like our country is oppressed right now because we taken God out of everything. We are artificially just spiritually dead as a country. And I think the problem with Wall Street is, number one, a spiritual problem. I've always said that. And it shows like every single day when people cannot even afford gas. They can't afford nothing. And people are really, really having their tail between their legs right now. And it's not a fun sight. It's very interesting because treasuries are paying pretty high right now versus being full-blown in corporate bonds. Like, I would never even thought that. And inflation is supposed to cool off, but the Fed is now saying that our economy is not as strong as they hope, and that it may take longer to get inflation down to, now they're saying 3%, not 2%. So it's going to be a long ride, guys. But in order for them to actually do something, they're going to have to cut these rates, because banks are going to flop over. Banks are really, really hurting right now. And so if you got your retirement, your business account, if you got substantial assets in the bank, then right now it's not the safe place to be. Seriously. It's not a safe place to be. So be very careful with the banks, because as interest rates stay higher, we have a huge chance that banks will go belly up. And that is for sure. The other thing I actually wanted to talk about was, for those of you that stayed on this long. So as we know, if you want to see this chart, Mike, if you want to put the chart up, we have, look, yeah, and before I get into that, we even have Spirit Airlines declaring bankruptcy, or rumor had it declaring bankruptcy, but look at their stock. Dude, it's like $4 right now, $4.05. You could short the stock all the way to zero. Maybe it does go bankrupt. I'm not giving that as investment advice. I'm just saying you can look at it. Just take a look at it. Look at all this volume. So you have the price, this red graph here, but the white graph on the very bottom is the volume. And basically, I'm sorry, the MACD. And so it's reaching all-time high, and so it's going to crash back down. And we are just seeing just so much momentum going down, new lowers. And now there's news saying that they're going to go belly up, file Chapter 11, and reorganize possibly. So even discount airlines are having a hard time. So you look at this ticker SAVE. Now, my shot call, here it is. Can I get a drum roll? So as interest rates go down, your bond prices go up. What if I told you that you can literally invest in the bond market, just the appreciation of the 20-year yield, meaning those prices are going to rise, so you can buy bonds, and they were down about 30+%, high 30s last year. So when bonds get smashed and because interest rates went up, it's the reciprocal this year, where interest rates will come down, the bond prices will come back up to its natural trading resistance. Home is what I like to say is zone. And so we see those prices at a all-time low. But what if I told you that there's an ETF out there that is times 3 of those bond prices? So if you look at TMV, we can see that it is creeping down to close to its all-time low, but you could even buy options on this contract. You could just buy TMV, and when interest rates do come down, this stock is going to skyrocket. So if you're hearing from me last episode, I said that I was going to bring something very unique to the table, and there it is. TMV, we're going to watch it, and this is going to make a lot of people money. So TMV, I would look at it because interest rates are going to come down eventually, which is going to send the bond prices through the roof, and you can make money on all the upswings. Of course, it's not financial advice. It's something you need to look at. I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying, hey, publicly, you could look at this and potentially make a killing. But it's up to you to do your own research. But if you want help with this and want to talk about it, just give us a call, 813-448-3446. I believe some calls, like $10,000, could be a substantial $100,000 profit in a 6 to 7 month period. Just my guess. Where I've seen similar setups on other sectors. But with that being said, guys, let's be prepared for a financial crisis. Let's be prepared for banks going belly up. Let's be prepared for a stock market failure, because when you're prepared, you no longer fear. And so that's what I do, is that we want to help you. We want to help you protect your principal, deal with American first only companies, and deal with the fiduciary that believes in what you believe in. But we also want to make sure that there's joy back in our hearts, joy is back in our life. And so in Psalms 46:4, we turn over there. This is my daily devotion that I read for every podcast and every morning. It's called 31 Decrees of Blessing for Men, and I really like it. If you're a man, like if you just want a quick read, good 5-minute read in the morning, or really just on your break. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It can be any time. I like to read in the morning, but really I'll pick it up in the middle of the day just to hear a word. There is a river, Psalms 46:4. There is a river whose streams make glad. Really that simple. It's really that simple. When we put ourselves in that river, God just blesses us. Like he gives us joy. You know that when you read his word, pornography goes down, anxiety goes down, your desires to do evil things go down, depression goes down, like mathematically and proven scientifically that is true. So we want to make sure that we're spending time in the word and that he is our river and that he makes us glad. And so that is my short little scriptures, guys, is that we've lost a lot of joy in our hearts. We've lost a lot of joy just worrying about money and worrying about inflation, worrying about the president. Speaking of which, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are going to go on a CNN debate. Of course, his microphone has to be muted and it has to be a Democratic friendly moderator. So they legit are going to put the cards against him. And I still think Trump is going to blow him out of the water. So he is desperate to get out of the court scenario and obviously get into campaigning. He's got my vote, man. And he's the only one fighting for us evangelicals, for America. I don't care what anyone says. He's the only one fighting. He's the only one that could potentially knock out Biden if they don't steal the election again. So we'll see how the election flu goes. Hopefully Dominion they don't do this garbage with Dominion again. And all of a sudden at 3 a.m., $400,000 votes. I'm sorry, 400,000 votes that came in the middle of the night. Or was it like a millions? I forget the actual number, but yeah, we don't want to see that happen again. Anyways, guys, I'm out. I've talked too much. I'm trying to keep my shows a lot shorter. We're making some changes with our show. We're bringing on some guests. Also, my next guest is actually going to talk about business credit. So what's interesting is that there's a whole nother world out there if you own a business. And there's a difference between personal credit and business credit. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand that because there's a lot of money in getting and borrowing debt. And so I want you guys to be equipped. And I believe Bobby, I'm bringing on Bobby. He's an expert in this field. And I want to make sure that you guys understand some of the rules of the game that are out there because the wealthy, they know all the rules. And so they know how to avoid the taxes. They know how to borrow from the banks. They know how to leverage their assets and really, really do amazing things. And so with that being said, guys, I'm out of here. God bless you. Don't forget to give us a call, 813-448-3446. Visit us at cortezwm.com. Let myself or one of my advisors help you with your retirement plans. And I wish you guys the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe at Scriptures and Wallstreet on Twitter and on Rumble. We are trying to grow our platform there as well. Anyways, I love you all and God bless. Bye-bye.